nothing. And of course, you say they could have died of thirst, except that's only if they're really, really stupid or they found no way to crack open coconuts.
Which would mean there's no rocks.
Yeah, and I got
they use their heel of their shoe, which we did find. It is a wide sole, not a high heel.
It's the rubber off of the bottom of one of those. Yeah.
I'm sure they must have had something on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or a rock.
Or a rock, yeah. Or a rock, I know. Exactly.
Literally a rock will do it.
I saw Castaway, it works.
Yeah, I know.
That's a historic documentary, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, besides those guys, in October 1937, a British Colonial Service survey team went to the island and spent 3 days surveying it. Those were the guys that I think they counted 111 big coconut trees with lots of coconuts on them. They said that there was just scads and scads of fish in the lagoon, and big coconut crabs, which would be real good eats, probably not that hard to catch. And so there was plenty of stuff to keep them alive there. And last of all, there would have been a lot of stuff if their plane was actually on the reef. Wouldn't you have offloaded everything that you could off of that plane onto the island?
That's presuming that you're able to get back to the plane easily.
Well, apparently they were, because they kept going to the plane to make radio calls. Yeah.
Maybe they stayed in the plane.
It could be that they stayed in the plane too.
They may have said, that is a long way and I can't make that swim, and oh God, sharks, because we're all afraid of sharks.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, and so they just say, screw it, we're going to stay here where we can use our radio, which is weird because the radio probably would have been dead in the water, but okay, whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, the reef was actually, somebody did an analysis of that whole thing, of the tides and everything, and the reef was actually high and dry.
Oh, was it?
Most of the time. I mean, it was not always completely high and dry, but I think the water rose up over the top of it, but not a huge amount.
Okay.
Although the tides varied from day to day.
I was under the presumption that it would have been partially submerged at all times. That was my presumption.
No.
I would, I guess, piggyback on the argument that Steve was making earlier, that the plane could have been on the outer edge of the reef, kind of like, almost like a car over a cliff, right? And so you kind of have to say, well, yeah, there's usable stuff in there, but if I go back in there and get sucked down with it, I'm done. So let's just stay where we're at with the things we have.
Yeah, but
you would assume that they had something.
But they would, again,
you would have taken something with you if the plane plops down and isn't moving.
You grab whatever you can.
You get your go bag of stuff and you go.
Yeah.
Oh, and they had, as far as I know, unless they were really, really stupid and they threw it away, they had a life raft in there.
Although, to be fair, they threw away their antennas, so they
might have I know.
They were offloading stuff to reduce weight, right?
Yeah.
Before they left on this last leg.
Who needs a life raft?
Yeah, so
really.
Nobody really knows. I mean, I suppose you could say with perfect common sense, say, hey, if we go down, we're just gonna break up and die anyway. So who needs a life raft? So maybe that's what they were thinking. I don't know.
Those life rafts are really heavy.
That's true. Okay, so anyway, it still amazes me that so many people take this theory seriously.
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with it.
I think it's the hope.
I guess.
Well, that's the thing. We encounter this. Well, we encounter this in a lot of stories, right? The logical answer is this person disappeared, these people are dead, this happened, and I know that sounds really jaded, but that is the logical answer. But as humans, we want to assume that these other human beings survived.
And don't forget also that there's some people who make money off this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, so Rick Gillespie and Tiger, they made a good living off this stuff.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
So maybe I should start doing something like this. I don't know.
Like a podcast about stuff like this or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to our last theory. Now,
speaking of, we're gonna break up in the air anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know. So this is there are people who really believe this. In fact, it seems kind of obvious actually. So they faced headwinds throughout the trip. I had heard 26.5 miles an hour, but let's assume it was intermittent. So I concluded an average headwind of 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
Just for fun. Optimum airspeed for the Electras was 145 miles an hour for the best fuel economy, which of course you're going to want the best bang for your buck fuel-wise if you're Amelia and Fred. I was told that Amelia intended to fly at 142 to 145 mph. That would give the Electra a ground speed of, we're assuming again, 20 miles an hour average headwind. That would be a ground speed of 125 miles an hour. So they reported in 2014, 20 hours and 14 minutes into their trip, that they turned to the 157, 337 bearing.
Right.
So if their ground speed was 125 miles an hour, they would have been 2,529 miles into the trip and 27 miles short of Gardner Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So remember what the commander of the Itasca said about the smoke column?
Didn't think it'd be more than 20 miles, right?
Yeah, from the north and west, he didn't think it would be visible more than 20 miles. So it's a huge shame, but if they had just gone a few more miles before they made that turn, things
might have seen it.
That might have turned out a lot differently. If they were be able to see the sun, then it had just come up. It might have been shining in their eyes if they could see it. It doesn't sound like they could, because if they'd been able to see the sun, you would think they'd be able to see that column of smoke. Yeah, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they popped out into the sun, and the column of smoke was directly between them and the sun, and they were kind of blinded, and they just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Was it a coal-fired unit or was it steam-fired? This ship? Because I'm trying to see. Is it actually black smoke that it was belching, or was it?
It was oil, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Steam or oil, or what was it?
Yeah, no, it was some kind of sooty thing. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They were.
So it would have been it wouldn't have been a steam cloud that could have
Yeah,
blended.
no.
Okay. I just suddenly couldn't grab that bit of information.
Yeah, I believe it was coal-fired. Yeah, probably should have checked on that. Sorry.
But I guess also coming out of a bunch of clouds, you might think, well, there's another freaking cloud.
According to what the commander said, he seemed to think it was pretty distinctively darker than the surrounding clouds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He said it would have. There's no way they could have not seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless they were more than 20 miles
Unless
away.
they were more than 20 miles away to the west. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that they might have chosen a poor time to arrive at Howland. They probably should have left La'i a little later, like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and that way they would get there. It'd be mid-morning, and the light would be better.
Yeah, low light.
Yeah. But as far as tuning too soon, how Fred Noonan could have made that navigational error is up to. There's been conjecture about that. The one is that just because of the weather conditions, it was impossible for him to get accurate fixes on stars and the sun. And so he was just going by dead reckoning. And he figured at that 20 hours of flight, they had to have reached the longitude of Howland. And maybe they underestimated the total strength of the headwinds against them. And then there's another theory that I read about, which is that he might have been able to take a fix on the sun as it came up. And you can do that to fix, if you know the time, you can use that to fix your latitude. But you have to there's a certain way of calculating it if you're on land, but if you're 1,000 feet in the air, you have to make an adjustment to that.
And do you have to know what the time is locally?
Yeah.
So
that could have been
based on all. I mean, we've been doing everything in Greenwich Mean, but if the time zones are so weird, he could have easily been an hour ahead or behind of where he was,
half an hour.
or half an hour, and that would have changed his bearing.
And they've been up for what, 20 hours?
20
through
hours.
A storm?
Yeah. No, it was
on
I'm
legs.
sure. When you do this stuff, I don't know much about navigation, but I'm sure you've got to use Greenwich Mean Time. You can't be futzing around with time zones.
I don't know, but
But I mean, but even
either
if
way,
it's not
he could have
that,
been tired more now.
Yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, they've
exactly.
been flying for how many days? For how many average hours a day? You know, and they're coming off a 20-hour leg at the end of their trip through a storm. You see the sun and you go, just turn that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the wrong way.
Yeah, and so it might have been a really easy navigation error. Something that he didn't make that adjustment, and he had just...
And they ran out of fuel, and they dumped it into open ocean.
Yeah. See, this is the whole thing, is why it's if their radio receiver had been working, this would have turned out a lot differently.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could have gotten a weather report from the Itasca, and they would have known, basically, it's sunny to the south and east, cloud banks north and west, so they know that they're either in a cloud bank to the west of Howland or in a cloud bank to the north of Howland.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is turn southeast and keep going until you reach the sun.
Turn right.
Yeah, that's it. Turn right. Yeah, and that's a
bummer.
It's a damn shame. I mean, just that one little thing, lacking that radio receiver. It totally holds.
And again,
people.
I think it's. We started joking about this at the beginning, but I think she was using new tack, and there was some problems with that, and wasn't tested, and something went wrong with it.
I think
And we'll never know what the problem was.
Yeah.
Well, we might find out. We might find a plane one of these days.
But I have a feeling that by the time we find the plane, everything is going to be so corroded interior-wise.
Maybe.
We're not going to be, oh, look, that one glass fuse was blue. No, all the stuff's going to be
Yeah, but
no
if we
good.
find the plane on land, then we'll know that they lived.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. And, if we find it, we'll probably find some mysterious evidence that he's choked her to death on their way down. That'll open up
Why'd you do
Yeah,
this?
pretty much.
I hate you. Well, all right. So much for... you guys have any more thoughts? Any more theories?
No.
I think, I
You
think
think?
it's an unfortunate accident.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
very,
agree.
very unfortunate. Yeah. Next-
So don't try to fly around the world with first-gen tech, guys.
well, and
Yeah.
also, don't throw away your trailing antenna, because
Yeah.
if they'd had that functioning radio, things would have turned out differently.
Way differently.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
May have been a hassle, but it was worth it.
Yeah. All right. Well, so much for that mystery. Another one down. You probably know if we have a website or not. Well, yes, we do. It's called thinkingsidewayspodcast.com, where you can download episodes. You can leave comments. You can check our links. We always put a few links up for all of our mysteries. If you find us on iTunes, where of course we are, you can subscribe and leave us a review, hopefully a nice review. And of course, you can stream us at any one of a billion websites. We're on Facebook. So find us out there. You can like us and follow us. You can also join the group. We have a Facebook group. Twitter, that is Thinking Sideways, without the G. And of course, we have an email account. We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Thinking Sideways Podcast at Gmail. If you've got theories about Amelia, or if you are Amelia and Fred, send
And
us
you
an
figured
email.
out how to use email.
Yeah. What else? We got a subreddit. I'm not sure how active that is right now, but
It's fine.
It's there. Okay.
Keep joining and talking.
Yeah,
and
join
we'll
talk.
Get there.
Yeah. And last of all, if you want to support the show, we are on patreon.com. That's the kind of thing where it's kind of like you pledge a certain amount per episode.
It's like Run for the Arts.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you're comfortable with per. We've also got the PayPal, and we've been putting up new merch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We got a bunch of new
PayPal
merch.
on our website. Yeah. So anyway, not necessary, but if you feel like
cool
it,
shirts.
yeah.
And
Helps to-
stickers.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been selling a lot of those.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, half a dozen anyway. So I guess it's patreon.com/thinking sideways if you want to find us.
And the other links are on our website.
Oh, it's all on our
Yeah.
website. Yep.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. You guys
Yeah.
have any final thoughts?
No.
I'm good.
Not gonna fly my plane anywhere soon.
Yeah, not over the ocean, that's
No.
for sure.
Let's take off.
All right. Bye, guys.
This episode of Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by Pip Pip and Cheerio. Instead, it's brought to you by CrimeCon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, CrimeCon is happening again this year, 2018, on May 4th through 6th in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of other big-name podcasters and TV hosts and writers and crime investigators overall. So, you want to be there, so go to crimecon.com and use the promo code SIDEWAYS to get 10% off. Can't wait to see you there. This episode is also brought to you by Stitcher Premium. If you want to get the episodes early, 4 days early as a matter of fact, and you want to get them ad-free, you're welcome to do so by going to stitcher.com/thinking sideways and signing up for Stitcher Premium. If you use the promo code SIDEWAYS, you will get 1 month free if you sign up for the 12-month plan. And by the way, there's also going to be some extra bonus content thrown in there once a month. So, it's a good times had by all. Go there, enjoy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thinking sideways.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as usual by
Joe.
and
Steve.
today we're going to talk about a mystery,
Yeah.
Weird.
a disappearance in fact.
One of
Even
those.
weirder.
It's like true crime kind of.
Crazy.
That actually is kind of crazy.
That's a celebration of CrimeCon. So,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about crimes for a little while.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the 1974, so super recent, disappearance of 17-year-old Amy Billig, who disappeared while hitchhiking to her father's office or art gallery
or something. Or his
something.
place of work. Let's
His
just
place
call
of
it
work.
POW.
Yeah, POW, to his POW. There have been some reported leads over the past 40-some years about her whereabouts, but she's never been found, nor have any remains or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Quick warning, there is a moment of discussion on some sexually explicit stuff, so big and little ear warnings for that if that's not your jam.
Huge ear warnings too, all sizes.
Yeah. And finally, before we hop in, I want to thank listener Christy for being the first person to suggest this mystery.
Hey, thank you, Christy.
If you suggested something recently, you may have found that we started saying, oh yeah, it's on the list, and we might have stopped adding names to the list.
Well,
so.
I add them, so hey.
That's good for you.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I know, these guys
Christy,
are lazy. They
Send
don't.
in your self-addressed and stamped envelope, and we will return you your prize. We don't actually do that.
We
A
don't.
star.
Which is your self-addressed stamped envelope back to you.
From Portland,
Empty.
Oregon.
Yeah, no, with a little junk mail tucked into it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody, you really want to suggest stories. It's fine. Let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Let's.
Amy was born on January 9th, 1957, to loving parents and a reportedly normal home. She had at least one brother. I've only ever seen reports of one brother, but
I never even heard what his name is, actually.
I did see it, and I don't remember it because he is
I think
such
it's
a small
Ryan
player.
or something.
He's such a small player in the story.
I read an article with him. It was an interview with him because he was only a couple years younger. Is still, I guess. I don't know. He's still a couple years younger. But I don't remember his name. I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry, dude, if you're listening.
Yeah, looking at really good research right off the top.
Well, it's not that important.
She was enrolled in high school at the time of her disappearance. Amy enjoyed music, including playing both the flute and the guitar.
Oh.
She was an avid reader and writer and was thinking about becoming an actress
Well,
at the
of course,
time because she was 17.
Yeah, exactly.
She was also a very dedicated vegetarian and generally described as kind of a flower child, free spirit, sort of empathetic.
So she was a child of the 60s.
It was, that crap was like more popular back in those days, yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I'm not really clear how this works, the layout of the day that she disappeared. But on the day of her disappearance, which was a Tuesday, March 5th, 1974, she came home from school at noon for lunch, which sounds like it was the end of her day for that day. You know, she was a senior, so sometimes you get, you have your half days because you stacked your courses that way. Sometimes...
Well, depending on the school, it's almost treated like college, where you do certain classes on certain days.
That's what I
She
mean,
might not have
stacked
had
your
a
days, yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday afternoon class.
Totally, yeah. Or she just was skipping, and
Being
her
a
parents
teenager.
were okay
Yeah,
with that.
This was the early 70s,
Yeah.
like skip school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
But
was the
she
worst
did.
that was going to happen? You can get a
mean,
factory job. It's fine.
It's fine, yeah. You can still afford an entire house and to raise a family of 4 on your salary. It's fine. Anyway, it sounds like that was the end of her day, was at noon. She was coming home for lunch. Maybe she was skipping the afternoon. I don't really know. It's never, ever explained what was happening on that afternoon. So
She was going to head off and do something with friends, apparently.
later that day, yeah. Regardless, she went home on this Tuesday for lunch, and then she called her father, Ned, asking for some money, either to go hang out with her friends or for lunch. It's kind of reported both ways. There's an alternate telling that she basically was she just went straight to his office or art gallery.
I think they're one and the same.
Ned, it sounds like, played the trumpet, not trombone, and owned an art gallery. That was what he did.
So she did something trombone or artsy.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, so she needed money, and she called him and said, "Hey, can I come get some money?" And he said, "Yeah, you have to
I'll
come
play my
get it."
trombone for a couple of minutes, and I'll get it.
Yeah, you got to listen to me play. Yeah, but I had heard, by the way, just FYI, I think it was somebody on Reddit who said he lived in Miami. Who said they actually knew where her address was, where his place of work was. They're about a mile apart.
Yeah, it was not very far.
It was not far.
Yeah,
But
she
so-
literally could have walked in 20-25 minutes.
So it's
15
not.
minutes, correct.
Yeah.
Well, me anyway.
Well, she was
But
wearing heels. So.
yeah. Okay.
Well, and it's not clear again if she did go home and then go to the art gallery or just was headed from school to the art gallery. Either way, she had called him for some money, started walking there, never showed up. This was pre-cell phone, you will remember. Some of you will remember pre-cell phone times.
Oh, yeah,
really?
we're old.
Oh, we will. All of us in this room. Her dad probably just assumed she ended up not needing the money, so it's fine, I'll see her tonight. When she
Teenagers,
didn't-
they do flake out
They're
sometimes.
fickle.
Yeah, or, maybe she found a $20 bill in her pocket or something. I mean, it's fine.
In those days, it would have been a $5 bill.
She found some money in her jeans at home or something and decided,
I know,
I
I'm
don't
mostly
need
jerking
it.
your chain, Devin.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, like I said, didn't show up to pick up the money. She also didn't show up to hang out with her friends, and I think her friends probably called the house. Again, this is a really severely underreported part of this story. This whole
How did it begin?
how
Or
it
what was she
happened, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
although-
kind of frustrating because I feel like there's a lot of details in there that would have been really helpful to know.
Yeah, I know. Like, I've never been totally clear on if her mother was at home when she arrived home, or if she talked to her mother or any of that
Or
stuff.
what, yeah.